Okay, so here we are. Again, this is not any kind of professional training, but then you're not being, having to pay for anything. So don't expect much. But I promise you, I will go ahead and give you some skills training. So the thing that I'm about to go ahead and share with you is not my information. This is information that was taught to me through the Mike Ferry organization as a realtor. So in this particular circumstance, what I'm going to do is take some of these things that Mike has taught me, and I'm going to convert it into usable information that you can use as a wholesaler. Okay, so if you're looking to begin an investor business or are currently an investor, then this information I think will be very helpful to you, especially if you're new. Okay, now throughout this, keep in mind I am not charging you anything for it, so don't expect a whole lot other than just straight up info. It's not going to be flashy or anything like that. It's just me, like you're in my office, asking me, what should I do? Okay. So that being said, what I'd like you to do is go ahead and stop the tape right now. I want you to go ahead and get a piece of paper and get a pencil, pen, something like that, something to write on. Personally, I like to use a notebook. That way you can go ahead and keep your thoughts in one place, and then you can go ahead and refer back to them. What I'm going to do is just give you a brief overview of some of the skills that we're going to talk about in the upcoming videos. Now, in this, basically there are 20 skills that I feel that you need to possess in order to go ahead and make this a usable business. And remember, you're in a business. So, hopefully by now you got your pen and paper. So let's go ahead and get started with the top 20 skills that I feel you need to have to go ahead and be successful in this business. The first thing you need to have, the first skill that we'll talk about, time management. Okay? Now, just a brief thing about time management. You have to understand that time management is the only thing you have. Time is non-negotiable, it's unstoppable, and once it's gone, and that is the only asset you have. So everything you do in relation to your wholesaling or investing business, you have to understand, begins from a place of time management. That comes from dealing with a motivated seller or an unmotivated seller, a motivated buyer, an unmotivated buyer. Whoever it is that you're dealing with, that has to be key in your mind, is how much time is this going to take. Okay, we'll go into it more later, but that's the first skill we're going to talk about. Second skill that you need to learn is this topic of lead generation. Okay, now it doesn't matter if you're selling pencils, homes, as a realtor or as a wholesaler, or if you're selling widgets through eBay. The fact is you have to have product. The only way to find product is through lead generation. In lead generation, there's 1,000,001 ways to get the lead. You can get them through an 800 number, you can get them through a yellow letter, you can get them through a bandit sign, you can get them through postcards, you can get them through neighbors, friends, realtors, MLS, short sales. There's 100 different ways that you can get a lead. So let me move this a little bit closer. Okay, I'm not freaking out. Anyway, the point is that in this particular circumstance, you have to understand that no matter where the lead comes from, you have to master a lot of different ways to get these leads coming to you, and the cheaper they are, the better. Okay? The cheaper the lead, that is, the better. So you have to manage a lot of different lead sources. Don't worry, we'll start on one, we'll work on it. The first one, this is skill number 3 if you're writing it down, is your past clients and center of influence. The people that you currently know or have done business with in the past in any capacity. Okay, so if you've got a hairdresser, for example, that person knows people. You need to contact that person and see if they want to buy or sell or know anybody who wants to buy or sell a property. Okay, if you're a realtor, that's kind of what you do. As a wholesaler, it's the same thing. People are not going to call realtors. If they're upset about something, they think it's going to cost money, they're not going to call me. Okay, they're going to call you. And you need to start working that past client / center of influence, the people that you know that can bring business to you because they trust you already. Those are free leads. Okay, if you build those relationships, we'll go further into that. The next skill, pre-qualification. There is nothing worse than going out to an appointment and finding out that the person cannot or will not sell for one reason or another at your price. So you have to develop a skill of learning how to pre-qualify these people to make the use of your time. You don't want to go out on a bunch of unqualified appointments It's horrible for your mindset. It's horrible for your production. It's horrible for your mindset in relating to your other clients. It's just a bad thing all the way around. So what we'll talk about also is your skill of pre-qualifying. Number 5, lead follow-up. Okay, no matter what business you're in, however you do all the prospecting that you do, all the lead generation that you do, and you get it down into a funnel of some kind, you pre-qualified them, you're going to have to follow up with them. In a fast-rising market like we have right now, people are going to get second opinions, they're going to get other thoughts, they're going to talk to realtors, they're going to talk to friends, they're going to get a lot of other opinions. So you want to make sure that you have your lead follow-up system down pat. And I don't mean a lead follow-up system in the sense that you email people and drip marketing and all the other nonsense that you hear about. What you're looking for is somebody who's willing to do something and willing to do it right now. And the fact is, the only way to do that is by getting really good on the phone, we'll go into those skills too, and being able to interact with that person at a meaningful level. Okay, I guarantee you, I don't care what your AWeber account is, your email, your drip marketing, whatever. If you're emailing somebody, okay, I guarantee the top producers in this business are people who are picking up the phone and making that personal connection. Okay, you've been taught that before. It's nothing new. All right. Next is your presentation. If you're a listing agent or an agent of some kind like I am, then you have a listing presentation. If you're working with buyers or a buyer's agent, you have a buyer's presentation, a certain set of things that you say. If you're a wholesaler, you also have to have a presentation of some kind, a way to explain your concept, what it is that you're wanting to do. What most wholesalers do is they read a book, listen to an iTunes, watch a webinar, whatever it is, go nose to nose with a seller, and then get beat up. Why? Not because they're stupid, but because they don't know how to interact and present an idea in an articulate fashion. We'll go into that too. The next thing you need to do is price. You have to understand pricing, okay? And that really is a lot more complicated than your standard MAO formula. What most people teach you is MAO, maximum allowable offer. You get the ARV, the after repaired value, multiplied times, say, 65, 70%, whatever your number is for your market, minus your repairs, minus your fees, equals the maximum allowable offer that you should offer. The truth is, okay, it's way more complicated than that. Pricing is something that you need to know and how to make the most out of every deal. We'll go ahead and get into pricing as well, okay? Next, handling objections. You've got to understand, this is skill number 8. You got to understand when you start talking about handling objections, it's not just should I list my home with you, should I buy a home with you, or whatever. Your types of objections as a wholesaler or an investor are similar to mine, but you don't know how to handle them. Okay? They always tell you, okay, I'm in Tucson and you are wherever you are. Okay? So tell me if this has ever happened to you. Have you ever had a seller say, well, gosh, I'd love to sell at that price, but if I'm going to sell at that price, I might as well just give it to my friend, or I'll just keep it, or something along, or I'll just list it with a realtor, or I'll sell it to, whatever their objection is. There are no new objections, okay? Understand, underline this point. Put flashing lights around it. Whatever you want to do to mark out, there are no new objections. None. Every objection that every person has ever said has been said somewhere, and somebody has an answer for it, okay? In a concise, reasonable way. The better you are at handling that question, the greater your odds of getting this deal through. Next, closing. Skill number 9, closing. Listen, if you think for a moment that you're in a consulting business, okay, you're not. You're in a sales business, all right? And I don't mean that you need to be negative or nasty or pushy or anything like that. I'm a salesman. My job is to sell stuff. Your job is to get product and sell stuff, okay? So you have to learn how, at least a very minimum, on how to close, closing techniques, getting people to sign on the contract, whether it be the seller or whether it be the buyer. You have to learn certain phrases, terms, techniques, tips, tricks, ninja ideas, things like that to get someone to see things your way and then go ahead and act. Acting is the act of closing, and you have to be able to get them to close. If you can't close, you'll never have a deal. Everything else is pointless, okay? Number 10, negotiations. Now, for some reason, some people, for whatever reason, don't want to sell it at a very low price, okay? And some people, when they're wanting to buy it from you, they are in a mindset where they're like, well, I see that you're making 20 grand, 5 grand, 10 grand, 2 grand, whatever it is you're making on this deal. And they try to negotiate with you on your price. So you need to learn a way to negotiate with people in a way that's powerful to you. We'll cover that. That's skill number 10. Skill number 11, working with buyers. Setting up a buyer's list and all that. You've been taught how to do all that, but I'm going to show you exactly some specific skill sets that you need to learn, in my opinion, to go ahead and interact with these buyers in a meaningful, powerful way and get them to act now, okay? Then we're going to step into step 12, which is admin and staffing, all right? There's a lot of things administratively and staffing-wise that you can do to go ahead and ramp up your business to the next level. Yeah, you can do it through VAs or whatever, but there's a lot of other things you can do in, using your title companies, using your affiliates to help market your properties, help interact with you, work with you, etc. We'll go into all those skills on how you can get other people to do stuff for you for free or next to free, okay? And I'll show you exactly what we do. Next, number 13, customer service. You have to understand this is a customer service business, okay? Your customers make relationships, make interactions with you on social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, all these other places. Plus, they also interact with the rest of the world around them and all the people they know. And if they have a bad experience with you, guess what? Your name's going to be mud and they're not going to call you. They're going to go on Facebook. And then at 2 in the morning while you're sleeping, or 4 in the afternoon when you're playing on the golf course, and these people are blowing up your Facebook because they're telling all these people about how awful your service is, well then guess what? You've got a problem. Why? Not because you initially started out with bad customer service. You had great customer service, but for whatever reason, there was a misunderstanding. And you failed to go ahead and interact with them on a level where they are, and now they have a huge medium through social media like Facebook and whatnot to share their ideas. And once the idea gets out that you're a crook, that you're bad, you're this, you're that, whatever the label they place on you in a social platform, guess what? You're done. Okay, you're going to have a real tough time getting rid of all that. So we're going to go into social media, we're going to go into your customer service, how to go ahead and make sure that your clients are taken care of. Step number 14, a business plan. Now listen, you've been told a lot of times about a business plan and how to do this and how to do that and write this out and get the law of attraction to work for you and all that. That's all great, and I agree with all of that, okay? But the overriding principle that you have to understand is the law of action, okay? The law of action. Action, it's been said, I believe Will Smith said it probably the best. He said, hard work beats talent. You can be as talented as you wanted to be. You can be as eloquent as you want, articulate as possible. But the fact is, a hardworking person with a solid business plan, step by step, knowing what to do and make these steps happen for them, is the person who's going to win. Why? Because they have a plan. We'll develop a plan specifically geared to your goals, your abilities, your desires, and then you're going to have at the end of this a way to go ahead and make this, meaningful to you. Okay? So, number 15, I should say, is the power of numbers. Okay? You have to understand this is a volume business. Okay? It's great that we all get these $20,000 checks, $10,000 checks, $5,000 checks, etc. But the reality is that this is a numbers game. Okay? You have to understand some will, some won't. So what? Okay? We're going to, in that particular section, talk about the numbers. We're going to talk about the numbers that it's required for you to find a deal, the numbers it's required to close a deal, and then the numbers required to go ahead and make a predictable response. See, part of the problem with mailings and all the other things that you're taught is it's not predictable and it's not duplicatable. You can't at will send out a bunch of letters or postcards or whatever the heck it is and have any reasonable guarantee that anybody's going to respond. Yeah, you could certainly say, well, okay, I'm going to get a 13% response rate or a 10% response, whatever your response rate. But at the end of the day, if you don't understand that this is a numbers game and that you're playing by volume, okay, then you're going to have a real hard time being able to duplicate that time and time and time and time again. If you don't understand how you got to this point to begin with, what it took to get there, then you can't replicate that result over and over and over again. Part of the success in this business is understanding once you get to the point where you've done the deal, now you have to be able to replicate it, okay, in a duplicatable and predictable fashion. Remember that, duplicatable and predictable. You'll notice I spent a couple minutes on this topic because I want you to really get this concept that this is a numbers game, that you have to understand the numbers. Once you understand the numbers, then it becomes predictable and then duplicatable. And then, game over, you're a champion, okay? Next, we're going to talk skill 16. Okay, we're going to talk about practicing and developing your skills. Okay, when A-Rod or any of these other fancy, baseball players, football players, whatever you see, go out to swing, they're paid millions and millions and millions of dollars for their ability at that moment. Okay, they're not paid to go practice 6 days a week. They're paid for the game on Sunday. All right, and their performance on Sunday at the touchdown line when they catch the ball is when it really counts. That's why they get paid a bazillion dollars to do something, is because they have the ability through practice and skills Monday through Saturday that they've practiced it 100 times. If you think that's the first time he caught the ball flipping around 100 times, you're mistaken. He's done this 100 times. Now it becomes second nature. Okay? Somebody recently, David Rowland, came and spent a little bit of time with me recently in Tucson. He had mentioned it seems so effortless how you flip from one mindset to the other. The reason why is not because I'm good, it's because I'm trained. We'll go into that as well. You'll be trained and you'll be just as good as me. Next, and yeah, I'm just trying to brag. I'm a little good, but I'm not like a guru or anything, so don't misunderstand me. Don't hate on me. I'm just simply saying that I happen to have a certain set skill that I think is very good. The only reason why I'm good is not because I'm smart, it's because I'm trained. That's all I'm really trying to say, so don't troll me, okay? Next, mindset. 17, mindset. You have got to get this through your head. 100% of your results comes from 90% what you think, 5% who you talk to, and 5% what you say. That's a fact, okay? 90% of your results comes from the way you think about this problem. 5% comes from which list you choose to mail to or what bandit sign you choose to look like, right? And then 5% comes from the actual words you say or the price, for example, okay? So what I see commonly in most places is a predominance to teach you the 5% things and not the 90% things that actually lead you to success. Okay? So if you want to be successful in this, you've got to get your mindset right. We'll spend a little bit of time on that in a skill set called mindset. Next, goals and motivation. Number 18, goals and motivation. You have got to have some goals, okay, but you have to have some motivation. What is your motive to action? That's really what motivation means. Motive to action. What's causing you to do this? Now, some people say, well, what's my why or this or that? It doesn't have to be a big thing, okay? This is not something that you need to spend a ton of time on, but this is something you need to understand, that what your motivations are, whether it be anger, respect, the reason why people do things most of the time is either to get recognition, because they want revenge or anger or something that is angry that's motivating them, or they want to go ahead and get some sort of financial reward. So it's either recognition, anger, finances. That's usually what motivates people. Okay, but the problem is that those three methods, fear. That's usually when I say money. That's what I mean is fear. If you want to get somebody to do something, take it away. That scares them. They move. That's how you get people to do stuff. Is you threaten to take things away. It's just like your kid. Your kid's taking your car for a joyride in the middle of the night, you take away his freedom, you ground him, same thing. You take away the motivation of somebody. If you fear them into something, okay, recognition, you're a great person, you're wonderful, you're number one, you won this, you won that, a sales contest at Realty Executives this month, recognition that comes along with it, that motivates some people. Fear of what happens if they don't make it, I'm not going to make my mortgage payment this month. Okay, that will move people. And then, of course, you also got, this issue about, money or whatever. But what really at the core of all motivation is a sense of giving back. Okay? When you receive, when you're fully self-actualized and all your Maslow's pyramid of needs has been met, then the natural suggestion at the top of the pyramid, if you look at it that way, is quite simply very simple. It's a need to give back. It's a sense of community. That's why we have philanthropic, or I'm not a very good person when it comes to big words, but that's why people give back so much. It's because they've had a lot of their needs met. They don't need the money, they don't need the house, they don't need this, they don't need that, but now they want to contribute. And that's going to be your motivation. That lasts. That lasts longer than any contest, than any fear, any motivation to make money, all that. Those are all transitory. But your need to give back, your underlying motivation, that's what's going to be your why at the end of this. We'll discuss that in topic number 17. Topic number 8, I'm sorry, that was topic number 18. Goals and motivation. 19, management. Okay? You have got to understand, as a business owner, you have issues that you're going to have to manage. And it doesn't matter if it's your VA or if it's your title company that's causing you problems, which you recently saw me handle. I had to manage that problem. If it's a buyer's agent, a co-list, an agent, whoever you're dealing with, you have to manage issues. So you got to get really good at management. We'll discuss how to manage people from a distance in a way that's meaningful, that's helpful, that's constructive, not destructive, and will help build them up. Because leaders, true leaders, okay, don't sit behind a desk. They tell you this is what we're going to do, and then they go do it with you. And that's why some of these gurus I have a lot of respect for, because they're actually out there doing this every single day. Some people I'm not all that, a big fan of. Why? Because they're more content to watch everybody else do it while they talk about the way it used to be. Okay? I'm not going to mention any names, but the fact is that as you think about all the people who've ever taught you, you've got two classes of people, the doers and the thinkers. The doers are the people you want to think a little bit more about. The thinkers you might want to pay attention to, but keep it in mind. Okay? But we'll talk about management. And then the last skill that I feel you need to have as we're reaching the end of this video is skill number 20. And that is systems. You have got to get systems down, because if you're going to build a business where you're creating leads, pre-qualifying them, following up, making presentations, negotiating price, then you make all these objection handles, you do closing techniques, you get things done, you manage all this stuff. At some point, you're going to want this to be repeatable, duplicatable, and predictable. Okay? Duplicatable and predictable. Those are the two things I want you to understand. Duplicatable and predictable. You will never get to the point where you're predictable and duplicatable without systems. And systems do not have to cost a lot of money, I guarantee you. And we'll go into some very specific, cheap ways that you too can go ahead and create systems for yourself and make it a powerful business, as big or as small as you want to be. Okay? So that's my promise to you. If you'd like to have more information, just say, hey, thanks, Carl, like it, whatever you want to do, okay? If you're on YouTube watching this, rate, subscribe, whatever you have to do there, okay? And as I produce these videos, if you subscribe on our channel, then you'll get these videos. I'll post them in different forums or whatnot as I see, people might need a certain help with something. I'll be happy to go ahead and do that. Now, why am I doing this, okay? Just as I said in the previous texts, emails, conversations I've had with people, you have to understand I'm coming from a place where I'm not charging you anything. The reason why is because all the things I'm about to teach you were taught to me in different ways. Either they were taught to me free, or yes, maybe I had to pay for it, but I got other things out of it. And my belief, my commitment to you is that if you learn the skills that are required, then you're not going to cheat people. The reason why people get into real estate is so they make a lot of money. The problem is nobody tells them anything without charging them something, okay? And when you're new, you can't afford anything because you're broke. If you're a brand new agent, I'm responsible for training the agents in my company. And I can tell you, when you're a new agent, you're broke. And if you're a wholesaler and you're new, chances are you're broke. And if you're broke, then you'll do anything to learn, to make a buck, to try and make your dreams happen. The problem is when you go in the process of doing everything and anything, sometimes you get caught up, and then you start doing, stuff that's, maybe not necessarily so legal, or maybe cheating, or whatever. And then what happens is one day, I'm interacting with someone like you in my marketplace. And when you're screwing over my clients and you're screwing over my people or my agents, then I have to deal with you. And I don't mean to deal with you in a negative way, but I'm just saying I have to interact with you, and that takes time out of my day. And that really is a hassle. So my belief is not only to pay it forward, but it's also a little bit of an insurance policy. Because the better you are, the smarter you are, the more educated, more skilled you are, the less mistakes, the less cheating, the less lying, the less, win at all costs attitude you'll have. And then you won't have to make these decisions. You won't have to have these moral dilemmas about what to do. You'll know what to do, and you'll know exactly how to do it, duplicate it, and predictably do it again. And then you'll have enough money. And then you will be in a position where you too can pass on the information and help somebody else. That's how we as an industry grow. Now, I acknowledge the fact that there's coaching available. I acknowledge the fact that there's people who sell different systems, and that's okay. That's all fine and good. There are a lot of methods to get to the same mountain. I'm not saying that my way is the best way. I'm just saying this way is the way that's worked for me. Some people happen to think, they look at me, they say, Carl, you're uglier than sin, you're dumber than a post. How in the world with a high school education did you manage to get where you are? This is exactly how. It was from learning these 20 skills. And I'll be happy to share them with you. Stay tuned. And again, don't forget, pay it forward. Take care. Talk to you soon.